Jackie Evancho is getting some heat for her decision to sing at President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration.
Known as the breakout child star from America's Got Talent, Miss Evancho went on to become the youngest platinum-selling solo recording artist in U.S. history, but now finds herself surrounded by political controversy.
Shortly after President Trump took office, Jackie put out a tweet regarding transgender issues.
I want to show that I support my sister.
I was born Jacob Michael Evancho. I was actually born with a girl's brain. So yeah, I'm transgender and I'm finally me.
Dear Jackie, I really admire your angelic voice, but am deeply troubled by your associations.
She's got to be careful.
You can't not stand up for what you believe in because you're afraid that you're not going to sell another album. Them.
I think the best part about our family is we're not afraid to be who we are.
A good way of putting it would be the Evanchos go against the grind.
Yeah.
The grind?
Grind.
Yes.
Grain.
The grain.
Who says grain? You used to be the most creative in this house.
Yeah, and then you stole that from me. Jackie and I have always been really competitive.
The jealousy comes from the fact that I have this career that she had always wanted.
I want to make the world a better place.
All I'm asking for is a little more time to think.
I want to be close with Jackie again like we were. I miss my best friend.
Peter is building an intro for your opening.
But I like that it's the way it is.
Mike's her tour manager. He's her agent.
Right now, the mix in the mic is not right.
Dad, I don't have time.
It's been a double-edged sword. We have a superstar child to raise, but we also have a child to raise.
Give it up. Thanks so much for being here, you two.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations on bearing your personal lives to a big audience.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
What is that like?
It's crazy, actually. It's not
a
anything
little
what I
nerve-wracking.
expected, yeah.
It's not what you expected. Let's talk about what you expected and what it is. So what did you expect it to be like?
I guess I kind of expected it to be really difficult and kind of a nuisance. But it actually, once you get used to it, you don't even notice the cameras are there at all. So, yeah, it was fun.
Producers aren't sort of guiding you along at all?
No.
Maybe you're a little angrier about this
Oh my
one
gosh.
than you let on right now. Maybe you're a little sadder.
Yeah, no, it's not like that, but it's fun.
What about you?
I actually kind of thought like, oh my gosh, all of our secrets are gonna be out there. Everyone's gonna think we're super weird. I mean, we are kind of super weird, but like, they were gonna think we were even weirder. But yeah, in all honesty, I'm very honest and very out there when it comes to who I am. So it was kind of normal for me. Yeah.
It's normal for you to have the television cameras?
Yeah, I mean, it's more normal that everyone knows everything about me, per se.
It's one of those weird things for the two of you, because one of the things that you talk about in regards to your relationship is a bit of jealousy, a bit of insecurity about your stardom, and how is it exploring that on camera? Because that's different than just being weird and being fun. That's fairly personal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it kind of just puts it out there in general. No one really knew about that until this reality show or special. And it is a little difficult to have people see that personal part in your life, but it just shows people that you're a human and you have things like that in your life that you deal with just like everybody else. So I'm really happy that people get to see that, because then they can kind of connect with me and my family.
It definitely brings a, what's the word, like a normalcy, or it makes us more normal and more relatable as a family. And I think that's one of the big points that we want everyone to get from this, that we're just a normal family with not so normal circumstances.
And one of those sort of abnormal circumstances we saw in the trailer, which is you singing the national anthem at the inauguration. It was fairly controversial.
Yes.
Simply because Juliet is transgender. And at the time, though, you know, President Trump's stance on transgender issues wasn't necessarily clear. He had said that he was a leader and he was going to be very positive for the LGBTQ community. We've sort of seen a change of heart on that, a bit of a change of heart.
Yeah.
Let's go back to making that decision. Juliet, how did you feel when that decision was made?
I supported Jackie through the whole thing. Jackie had already said the way she looked at it was, she's singing for her country. She's not just singing for one man. And it was a huge opportunity for her, and I do not blame her for taking that.
Was it scary?
It was scary, but for me, it was just kind of one of my personal goals to be able to be one of those historical names put down in that book of people who got to sing for the inauguration. So, I mean, it was a huge honor, so how am I going to say no to that? It's been my dream since I could start singing.
You sung beautifully as
Thank
well.
you.
What was it like spending some time with, POTUS? With DT? Was he nice?
Yeah, he actually was very polite to me. Kind of as polite as you can be to a 16-year-old, you know. Can't exactly have conversations, but it was a brief meeting, and he was very polite to me. So that's all I can say.
Do you have any regrets about singing since then? And he has attempted to, not necessarily done it, because I don't think he actually understands how the levers of power in this country work. But he's attempted to ban transgender members of the military. Do you have any regrets at all?
I don't have any regrets because, like I said before, this was for the honor. It wasn't for the person, and it was to be able to sing for my country, and no one was doing it, so I seized the opportunity.
And it's a strange situation to be in, because I feel like when you decided to sing, and we see this in the trailer, you got a lot of criticism from those who were opposed to the president. And then when you put out, one tweet sort of talking about how you felt about his stance, you got a lot of criticism from his supporters. Who was the criticism, whose criticism was angrier?
Both criticism was pretty ugly. And I
had like dealing with that, because you're an apolitical singer. And your family's fairly apolitical. I mean, at least publicly. I'm sure privately and personally you have your own political views, but publicly, you are a recording artist.
Yeah.
You have these profiles that you have to maintain. What is that like to suddenly be thrust into the middle of this?
It was really scary because I wasn't really used to hearing such ugly things said to me. I was, but just not to that degree. And I mean, when you have people sitting there saying, I hate you on one side, and the same people on the other side saying the same thing, you don't know what to do, especially since in the end of it, everyone's saying now both sides don't like you. It's like, where do you belong then? And it took a long time for me to kind of realize that I can't listen to it. I just have to ignore it, because I do have my supporters, and I will always have my haters, but there's nothing I can do about it.
And how did you feel while this was all going on, Juliet?
For me, it was just a matter of backing up my sister, because seeing all these hateful things being spewed at her was scary.
You also know how she feels about you and know where she stands on the issue. So
exactly. It's totally different when you're living it with the person who's being hated on. Because trust me, I've gotten plenty of my own hate, and Jackie's always there for me.
From who? You don't have necessarily a public profile as of yet. I mean, until this show is released, but
well, I actually recently just finished and won a lawsuit against my school district pertaining to usage of the bathrooms at the school.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
It's fantastic. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
I think the bathroom issue is incredibly important, and it's consistently trivialized by mainstream media and people who don't understand it, but it is one of the most important issues facing the transgender community in this country. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm very excited because they're actually using my case in other lawsuits all around the country as an example.
Will we see the story of this lawsuit in this season of the show?
Well, I don't think so. Although I did graduate, so that's something that happened. And you'll see that. Because it started very early on, and it started early on in the school year, and it's actually been a year. It ended up being a whole year for the whole thing to finish, and it was scary, and that's where I got all the hate from. I got all the hate from the people in my district saying really mean things, even to my face, because I went to all the board meetings and people were saying things to me and saying, not directly, but of course it was to me. And so, getting back on track with everything, I get my hate from that, and then Jackie's is all from everywhere.
Misunderstandings, pretty much.
Yeah. You're both incredibly brave, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
I don't use that word lightly, and I try not to use it because I think it's overused on people, but it's very brave to stand up for this issue.
Thank you.
Let's talk about being a famous singer in your family and having your father, who's right backstage. I met that man backstage, and is also your manager and agent, as we see in there. How does that work?
It's really tricky because there really is no guidebook on how to be a manager and a dad at the same time, let alone being a dad. So,
well, it's tough because a manager is in many ways second to you, the singer, and often when there is a complaint or you're mad about something, you yell at your manager.
Right.
And I don't think dads want to be yelled at by their teenage daughters.
Right. Yeah, it's hard when you have that business relationship with your father. And it's hard to tell when you have your dad relationship or your business relationship. They merge really often, so it causes a bit of strain, but we both realize that we love each other as like a father and a daughter, and that most of the time our fights are caused from business, and that's it. We don't place
What kind of fights?
Just disagreements. Like you probably saw in the little thing that was playing here that I don't have time. We have fights about stuff like that all the time, where it's just he believes I need to do something now, but I believe it could be done later. Just little things like that.
And what is your schedule like now as a singer?
Right now, it's slowed down for the summer because they give me time off in the summer, but it's picking back up, and the holidays are going to be really exciting. And I'm also writing a lot of music, so.
One of the things that you talk about in the first episode is being the kind of primary earner of your family as the singer, which is, I'm sure, not something that your family was expecting, but just kind of happened. Right. Can you talk about that kind of pressure?
There is a lot of pressure to be the primary care, you know what I mean. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure to be that, especially since you are the daughter. And you kind of can't play that card on anybody. But at the same time, I know that my parents, they try their very best to keep me safe and grounded, and I know that they love me no matter what. So it's kind of just trusting in the love of your family and your family members.
Is it tough to stay grounded? Does she stay grounded?
Oh, yes. She definitely stays grounded with help from all of our family.
Yeah.
How do you keep her grounded?
You know, a little whack in the back of the head a few times. Yeah. But really, we just are like, hey, come on, Jackie. But it's actually really easy with her.
You don't have to do it that often.
We don't need to do it with Jackie that often.
Who do you need to do it with?
Me.
Her. Oh my gosh. She's like crazy sometimes. Yeah. She's like, I'm a model. You can't do anything about it.
Oh
She's kind of like that sometimes, but
it comes across a lot worse than I mean it to. Like, a lot of the time I'm joking, but something I do want to say is, unfortunately, this is a special. We would like it to end up being a series. So you said first episode. It's actually like one little snippet into our lives. But fingers crossed that it ends up being a whole series so that you can see more.
Absolutely. So you enjoyed having the cameras around enough to sort of maybe make it a whole series.
Yeah. Yes. It'll be fun if it is a whole series. There's a lot more to talk about. So
do you become friends with the crew and everything while they're there, or do you try to keep them at a distance?
No, you become friends. You kind of have to become friends when you have someone living with you for like a week, every day, all day. You kind of have to become friends.
What is the schedule like? They don't actually live in the house, right? Do they come early in the morning and then just sort of stay into the evening, or do they set up times where they know stuff is going to happen?
Yeah, they pretty much set up times. Right. I mean, it's kind of a schedule, as scheduled as you can be when it comes to life.
Yeah, it's like you're going to be having dinner at 5 or 6,
Yeah.
so like we'll come for dinner, or like they're going to be opening the mail, or maybe they're going to be there and they'll find stuff to do with you.
Right. I mean, they usually show up around like 10 a.m., leave around 9 p.m. So.
What was the toughest part about doing it?
Outfits. Yeah.
For you, for me, it was just kind of having to stay quiet in your own house. We're a loud family, so that was a challenge for us.
Oh, right. So if they're shooting your siblings or something, you kind of you have to be quiet.
Yeah.
And then our 6 dogs are very loud as well.
6 dogs?
Yeah. They're all like little tiny dogs, so we say they make one big dog.
Yeah.
How did you get 6 dogs? Was it all at once, or over the course of time you were buying dogs?
Yeah, it was over the course of a few years, but.
Do you have a favorite dog, or do you treat them like?
We actually all have our own dogs.
They're all your own dogs.
It's like in Game of Thrones, how the Stark children have dire wolves.
Yep.
We have our own pets, like our own dogs.
Yeah.
And mine is a little Pomeranian. She's the sweetest little thing, but she's
little
so
Maggie.
sassy. She's a sassy girl.
And now your brother and sister are also on the show as well, your younger brother and sister. How do they feel about the camera treatment?
I feel like they loved it.
They love it.
I think they loved having a taste of kind of what I live and what Juliet's learning to live. And I don't know, I think that they're excited to finally start having their own voices.
Is it hard to not perform for the cameras? Because obviously it's supposed to be quote unquote reality. But I mean, when there are camera crews there, you want to perform, you want to say something to the camera.
There's definitely times where like you'll catch yourself like acting in a sense, like trying to be funnier than you are.
Yeah, it's more like you're just aware of the cameras.
Yeah.
And so you kind of feel a little more self-conscious maybe. But it's pretty easy to get in the groove of just ignoring that they're there.
Yeah.
Let's get some questions from the audience. Who has a question? Right here.
Hey guys. So I was wondering, I don't know, like on the show or off the show, how much of your friends or other relatives have been around to support you guys through this?
Family is a huge part of our lives. Now, for me, after I came out, I lost the majority of my friends from high school, and as did my boyfriend. So that part has been very hard. But as I said, family is always there for us, and family birthday parties, because we have a big family. My dad is the oldest of 8 kids, so there's always a party.
Yeah. Can I ask how long ago did you come out and you ended up losing friends?
I just graduated senior year. So senior year, I came out junior year. So it's been like 2-3 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have any of those friends gravitated back or?
Nope. And it's been very hard, especially like I said, in my district, a lot of people don't like me.
Or us. The Evancho family is that family that you're like, ugh. And the
in our
because we're the ones that have 2 goats in the backyard, you know, and play loud music in the front yard while they just want to have trees in certain places. So
they just want trees.
Yeah, you know
they
how
want
they
trees. We want goats.
Yeah.
You're eccentric.
Yes.
Or too eccentric for them. Eccentric is a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Next question.
Hi. So I was wondering, for the long year that you two had from January to now, and even though we're like over the halfway point, what is the lesson that you both learned from experiencing everything that happened this year?
Well, for me, the lesson that I personally learned is kind of you have to ignore the opinions of the public and just know in your heart what the truth is.
Yeah, be true to yourself. And I've learned to become more confident in who I am and stay confident and be an example for those who are too scared to be themselves.
Was that one of the reasons why you were excited to do the show?
Oh, of course. That was one of my driving missions and through all of this, because there's a lot of times where people don't know what to do when it comes to being transgender. Luckily enough, I was able to have such a supportive family, and a lot of people don't. And a big dream of mine is opening kind of like a safe house for LGBTQ youth where they can come and transgender kids can receive care that their parents wouldn't give them.
That's great. I think we have time for one more question.
Hi guys. So I was just wondering, since you like rose to fame at such a young age, so I'm sure it was such a whirlwind at first, but like you're both still so young. Is it get any easier for you guys, or does it still feel like overwhelming to you at all, or?
It's definitely easier in terms of being in the public eye, but it gets harder as you get older because you're more responsible for so many more things in your life, not just the fact that you have to find a way to make money so you can buy yourself a house and support yourself and maybe a family in the future. But I also have to control my social media and what I'm going to do with my career, where I'm going to take it, the next album I'm going to record, just a bunch of stuff like that.
And something that we do get very nervous about would definitely be politics, because it's always hard to say it. Let me correct myself. It is never easy to say the right thing. You can never say the right thing when it comes to politics because someone is going to hate it.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Let them
it's
hate.
okay.
Yeah,
we just get nervous.
Let them hate. I think that's the big lesson that you learned this year was
Let
haters
them hate.
gonna hate, let them hate.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So when can people see the show?
This show is going to be airing tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, Jackie and
Thank
Juliet. Thank you so
you.
much. Let's give it up.